Welcome tonight as we get into episode 5 of Sharpest Tool, titled Apply Direct Pressure. So we have lots of fun things going on to get to tonight. As I said in the Discord at the end of last time in like all my announcements and such, we're halfway through the season now, so we're getting into the second half of things, so we got lots of drama and intrigue ahead. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. Disclaimer before we get into this episode: I am not a science person, or a medical person, or anything in that realm, so same disclaimer as we use on Traitorous when we do doctor things. I don't know what I'm talking about, but Birdie is a biomedical science engineer major, so just roll with me when we get to some sciencey talk as Birdie's doing their experimenting on stuff and trying to figure shit out, okay? We'll put that there. And I don't know what to Google to find real words that sound good, so we're going to be doing a little bit of flubbing when it comes to science things. I did a little bit last episode too, but there will be more mild spoilers for tonight, I guess. I'll do my best to make it at least sound legit. Just take it as canon science for this universe, okay? Other than that, I think that's all I have to say, so thank you for being here. I hope you're excited, and yeah, let's go ahead and jump on into things. We start our episode here, early morning before the sun has risen, of course, at the edge of campus, yet again, as we see one of the members of the feral camp walking with another human here, kind of a similar scene to one that we had a few episodes ago with the green-haired girl, as one of the ferals here has lured one of the other humans from campus to the perimeter near their camp as well, and just the same as the last one, instead of this turning into kind of a fun, normal, casual romp, of course, our feral here does have some different plans as he goes ahead and pulls out some of those vampiric moves here and sort of beguiles this man to his will as he goes ahead and sinks his teeth on in for a bit of a deep drink here, but this time as Aster does see and run on over to him, she's not really here to chastise him just like she was with the other girl before, as she waits for him to kind of finish up before the victim, of course, inevitably passes out and drops to their knees in exhaustion after having their blood drained here. And Aster's going to go ahead and walk on over to the man who was expecting her presence here, as victim's walking quite far away to pass out, as he asks her, "All right, now what, mother?" As Aster kind of stares at the body unconscious on the ground now, saying, "Now we wait, and we see if he wakes up soon. If the ritual worked, our power should be strong enough to actually knock a victim out for the night and leave them with no recollection, like we used to be able to do." As, we'll get him to actually get into a conversation with her here. As the man who kind of looks questioningly and says, but if he's not supposed to wake until morning, how long are we to watch him to make sure? As Aster says, well, we aren't going to be watching him very long. However, you, Balthazar, are going to watch him until morning. As Balthazar kind of looks taken aback at that and, what? Her quickly cutting him off and saying, and make sure he doesn't know a thing about what happened before. Then just pretend you found the poor fool passed out on the trail that morning. As Balthazar continues to look confused, saying, why me? Aster just saying, because you're merely a member of my tribe, and I have more important things to attend to. Now, as she's talking here, though, unfortunately, contrary to what she was saying, the victim has awoken over here, seeming very confused as the other two startlingly turn to him, noticing he's awake as he seems very confused about what exactly just happened, and looks pretty upset, turning to Balthazar here and saying, what the fuck, did you bite me? Who are you freaks? I'm gonna call the cops, as he starts to run away, Aster just looking particularly upset, of course, as she exclaims, God damn it, Finn! With the blonde vampire that was sort of keeping Clementine from coming into camp earlier, zips right on over, immediately attending to her side, and Aster just sticks him on the victim, saying, catch him, as Finn just enthusiastically is like, yes, mother, and zips on off after him to go catch and deal with that victim. As she continues to just sort of try and calm herself down a little bit, looking into the dirt as Balthazar stares off into the distance before saying, it seems the ritual did not work. Aster snapping at him now, though, saying, no shit, the ritual didn't work. Alright. We'll just have to try again, but this time, I'm not letting one of you imbeciles find a sacrifice, because clearly, last time you chose the wrong one. A familiar scene early morning as the crew is waking up and as usual, like before at least, Lynx is in the kitchen where perhaps a power bar would be in her hands before. She's got a little plasma pack. Maya just already glaring as she comes down the stairs, kind of realizing that Lynx was grabbing one from the cabinet where Maya's been keeping hers, as Maya just sits down and addresses it with Lynx, saying, really, I can't have my power bars anymore, and now you're just stealing plasma packs from my stash, as Lynx just, of course, has a mischievous smile on her face, saying, yeah, gotta keep up tradition, you know. Maya retorting, but it's stupid, you have your own in this case. Lynx just kind of still smirking at her, saying, maybe I like yours better, as Maya's just not really having it, and Lynx continues on, looking a little more sheepish now, saying, or maybe I lost my last couple in a stupid bet with Blake. But either way, I don't need to be hulking out and going after a squirrel on my way to class, so Maya just rolling her eyes and saying, fine, whatever keeps you tame, I guess. Lynx kind of just raising her eyebrow at that, almost starting to say something, noticing the blush on Maya's cheeks as she kind of processes what she said before Maya just quickly continues on, going, oh my god, whatever, just make sure you pick up some more today, or ask Birdie while they're at the lair doing however much else research they were going to. As Lynx kind of like finishes up the plasma pack, saying, I thought they were going to be at the lab all day, not the lair, not swinging by the lair at any point. Maya going, yeah, I mean, normally on Fridays they would be, but haven't you noticed they're a little one-track-minded about the Diana stuff lately? Before Lynx kind of just pauses, like really thinking and saying, I swear I heard them say last night that they were going to actually spend some more time at the lab since they have been slacking on that recently, but I bet I'm right. Maya just kind of coming back at her saying, trust me, I know how focused Birdie can get on a problem that they can't solve. I bet I'm right. Before Lynx kind of takes the bait, smirking at her again, saying, fine, bet then. Bet 3 plasma packs on it. Maya's seeming a little bit conflicted and nervous about this, as Lynx just continues to kind of stare her down, saying, what, are you scared of being wrong, Miss Perfect? Before that finally kind of makes Maya snap and go, alright, fine, 3 plasma packs, as thankfully, Birdie is coming down the stairs now, finally, to kind of settle this debate. Unknowingly, of course, as they're swinging their backpack over their shoulders. Maya and Lynx immediately turning towards them. Maya saying, or Lynx just going, "Hey, Birdie, ready for the lab today?" As Maya goes, "Or you headed to the lair like every other day this week." The two kind of giving a, I told you so look at each other. Birdie a little bit confused about the energy that's been created in the kitchen today. As Birdie goes ahead and responds to them saying, yeah, I'm headed to the lab, actually. Regretfully, you are correct, my dear My Pie. I need to take some time with my mind off of the Diana stuff to hope a solution comes out for me. So I am going to the lab to work on a different project today once class is out. Still kind of confused as Lynx is looking pretty triumphant, and Maya looks a little more deflated after getting their answer there. And Birdie's just still kind of staring at them saying, weirdos. All right, I will be back kind of late today, so try and not kill each other in the few hours left alone before I return home, all right? As Maya just kind of waves them off, saying, yeah, Lynx throwing no promises. Maya still looking a tiny bit scared, actually, as Birdie just kind of laughs and throws a goodbye over their shoulder, finally heading out of the house for the day. Hello, dryer, sorry. As Lynx kind of looks over at Maya with the answer. There we go. I had them locked in the house from the last scene last episode. We'll let Birdie actually leave to the lab now. As Lynx is kind of looking over at Maya, like holding out her hand, wiggling it, like, pay up. As Maya just goes, fine, just take them. Lynx triumphantly heading over to the cabinet and stealing 3 of Maya's plasma packs from her for her own safekeeping now. As Maya just Lynx saying, yeah, see, I knew my memory was correct, like a steel trap. Maya going, whatever, you know what, I'm gonna ride the high of Birdie actually admitting that I'm right for once, instead of focusing on that defeat, so, whatever. And the fact that you couldn't actually kill me, so I should be safe. Lynx just going, I bet I could absolutely kill you if I wanted to. Maya's still seeming a little bit nervous, not 100% sure how much Lynx is kidding or not, although hoping that she is, but I'm backing it down at this point, saying, no, because A, you do want to, and I'm still alive, and B, I can hold my own sometimes. My parents made me take self-defense classes in middle school. Lynx just kind of giggling at that and going, I bet I could absolutely still crush you. As Maya thinks on it for a second and sort of throws a line back in Lynx's face that she gave to Maya earlier, going, fine then, bet. Lynx just kind of laughing as she stores away the plasma packs in her own bag, going, what? As Maya goes, bet, arm wrestle me for it and see. As Lynx just kind of like laughs her off, going, this is so stupid, you know you're gonna lose, but inevitably putting her elbow on the table to arm wrestle. As Maya gets into the competitive nature of it at this point, though, and just saying, yeah, fine, bet. As she puts her arm on the table as well, and we'll fade to black and let them continue their little challenge there, since we can't actually arm wrestle in The Sims, otherwise I would let you guys see it. Pick up here with Birdie in the lab as class is concluding, as their professor's kind of joining. Let's pretend the whole classroom is filled out with students, okay? I didn't put a bunch of extras in here so that the game didn't actually break, but pretend that the whole class is filled out with students, okay? As Birdie's professor's kind of finishing up with a little closing and riddle for the day, see some students are walking around and droning on about a little like end question for the class, as teachers tend to do sometimes, but Birdie's not paying a ton of attention. They're really just hoping to get through the class so they can get back to doing some of their experimentation, because they have been focusing on the stuff that Diana was working on, but they can't really do that in the lab. That's more stuff that they need to look at with all of the resources at the lair and such, but they still have this lingering question in the back of their mind of what exactly is going on with them, as well as their friends and roommates, and what exactly is this vampire thing on a molecular level, because they're still not gonna give up thinking that there is something different on a biological level, even if the blood work doesn't look too different so far. There has to be something in there. So they're definitely wanting to focus on that project in the lab rather than whatever's happening in class here. But they know that they're not having a ton of progress on that front either, so their brain is just a little bit all over the place, not paying too much attention, but they do kind of catch that the tail end of whatever their professor is saying is that they're alluding to how, all right, class, if no one comes up with the right answer, it's not too big a deal. I'm not going to hold you guys here until someone gets it, since this is one of the toughest chemistry riddles that my professors used to try and trick me with, and so I figured, we're a few weeks into the semester now, might as well give you guys a little brain teaser, just as I had to struggle with back in my undergrad days. Birdie not even wanting to attempt whatever the answer might be, since they weren't really listening to the problem in the first place, but Lynn, their new lab partner that they've kind of gained over the past couple weeks here, is just kind of scribbling away furiously at his notepad of paper as Birdie looks over it. Plenty of the complicated formulas that he's got kind of going on here before he shoots his hand in the air pretty quickly, surprising even their professor. She's like, oh, I mean... Lynn, if you want to take a stab at it, as he answers, like, isn't it just nitrogen? The professor being like, well, that's a little simple. Let me double check, as she doesn't 100% remember the answer, since she remembers it being a lot more complicated, but as she kind of, like, double checks her little notes there, she's like, oh, you're right, I always forget that it is such a simple solution to such a convoluted problem, but, I think that you're the student who has solved it the fastest in all my days. Goodness. Very impressive, Lynn. Keep up the good work. And with that, I guess you guys are free to go, even a couple minutes early. Look at that. Your classmate saved you a little bit of time there. As Lynn's looking like pretty proud of himself and happy about this, kind of gathering up his stuff. Birdie, not necessarily hearing, the problem in the first place, not knowing how difficult it truly was, but hey, they trust this professor, and hearing that, believe that whatever it was pretty impressive, at least, as they're just kind of focused on staying after in the lab to continue working on their project, though. As the professor is kind of cleaning up and taking another little time to sort of talk to Lynn exactly about how he did it and such, as Birdie starts to sort of zone out again, the professor leaving them to it until, as it tends to be, Lynn and Birdie are actually the only two left in the lab. Birdie just kind of trying to wait out for him to leave yet again so that they can get back to all of their blood work and experimentations and such, until Birdie just... curiosity getting the better of them, does at least want to strike up a conversation with Lynn, not necessarily wanting to admit that they weren't paying attention to their professor at all, and didn't really know what the problem was, but still asking Lynn, so how did you get the answer that fast? As Lynn kind of starts to describe his process a little bit, seeming excited that Birdie did seem interested and wanted to ask about it, until he at least reaches a conclusion at the end, saying, listen, I mean, yes, it's complicated, and I mean, I don't know if I solved it how I was supposed to, but I've always just sort of had a talent for looking at things a little differently. I mean, kind of thinking outside the box to get to an answer that other people might not see all the time. Birdie kind of intrigued by that, as it's sort of a weak point in their work for sure, is that it is a little bit more difficult for them to think outside the box and try and come up with solutions other people don't think of, like Lynn said. And whether it's smart or not and how much Birdie wants to say, they're not sure, but since it has been kind of slow going on their research so far, and remembering that Lynn did ask when he caught them in the lab a bit ago if they ever needed help, he was willing, Birdie decides to maybe at least bring him in a little bit and see if he might be able to come up with some solutions that they're having some trouble thinking of. So as he is finally kind of gathering his stuff and about to leave, Birdie kind of grabs him again real quick and says, wait, hold on. So how I'm working on that project for the internship or whatever, Lynn kind of nodding along, remembering their conversation from earlier as well. Birdie continuing on, you said if I ever needed any help that you'd maybe be willing, and well, I can't say too much about it. It's very classified information for a really important big firm. Um, it's kind of a really difficult patient case that I'm supposed to be trying to figure out, and someone who can think a little bit more outside the box might be helpful to perhaps find some of the smaller answers along the way, at least. I mean, I'd still like to come up with the final solution on my own, but if you would be willing to maybe at least take a look at it and help me with it a little bit, see if you can help put me on the right track at least. Lynn's face just kind of lighting up as they continue to talk, saying, yeah, no, I would absolutely love to. I've been super curious what you're up to in here anyways. Birdie making sure to make sure he understands, like, well, I still can't really give you any information about what's going on, but most of the slides just look really normal so far, but I know there has to be some kind of abnormality in them, and so maybe, with the help methodically looking through some stuff, you can notice some patterns or differences with me, and that's all. It should be super simple. It's probably not even anything that wild or weird or anything, just difficult to see without finding a different point of view. Lynn just saying, nope, say no more. I like a good challenge, even if without the context. So, Birdie kind of definitely not wanting to tell him too much information, but hoping that an extra set of eyes might be able to at least find some abnormalities for them to study and put two and two together with all the information that they do know. Is going to let Lynn actually get to work with them as they pull out the samples and start to at least give him some to analyze under the microscope as they continue on in the labs. It is later at night. The sun is finally setting, and Birdie is finally headed home and starting to walk up the steps until they happen to glance to the right and see that their roommates, who shouldn't be stretching, but their roommates are not actually in the house, but over here kind of stretching and seem to be bickering from afar as Birdie just kind of shakes her head and heads on over to them instead, interrupting the conversation and being like, hey, what are you guys doing? As Lynx just simply answers, as both of them are still just kind of, stretching, shaking out their hamstrings and stuff, as Lynx turns to them and goes, racing. Birdie, a little taken aback by that, and not really the answer they were expecting, going, sorry, what? Lynx just nonchalantly responding, Maya bet me that she could outrun me, and especially with even the little bit of vampire speed that we can access at this point in our training, it's absolute bullshit. Birdie's gaze just kind of narrowing at that and looking over at Maya this time, Birdie going, what? As Maya starts to look a little bit sheepish and says, hey, don't give me that look, okay? I've got it under control, and I just need to win one since she beat me at arm wrestling earlier, okay? Lynx kind of confused at that now, though, going, what? As Birdie's just kind of shaking their head and face-palming, saying, God, you've awoken competitive, Maya. Lynx just raising an eyebrow at that, going, oh? Birdie explaining, yeah, no, she's got it bad. Only one time that she ever got detention in high school was when she could not let a bet go with another guy on the mathletes team, and it ended up in them getting their calculus teacher's car totaled. Maya blushing at that, of course, as she's like, Birdie, we said we weren't going to talk about that ever again. Birdie retorting, and you said that you were never going to get into a betting war with someone again. Maya going, no, this isn't the same. I promise, okay? Will you just referee for us, please? Birdie setting down their bag and such and saying, alright, do not approve of this, but because you're both idiots and are about to have a vampire race in the middle of campus, I will supervise. Lynx just kind of brushing it up. It's like, whatever. It's dark. No one's gonna see. No one's out at this hour anyways. Birdie going ahead and taking a post near the end of where they're gonna race, even if in their head they're sure that they could beat both of them in a race, but hoping that this is the end of their shenanigans if they let both of them get this out of their systems and then head in for the night. Birdie heading down to the end, waiting for them to be ready. Both the girls kind of taking their, on their marks, getting set, and eventually once they see Birdie down at the end, give them both a thumbs up, just sort of racing all the way on over here as fast as they can, as they were saying, not really able to do as quick of a sprint as some of the other vampires in the league at this point, since they haven't quite harnessed their powers to that degree yet, but still having a little bit of a boost than any normal human, as Lynx is definitely taking the lead over Maya in the race, kind of laughing and clapping as they get to the end, and Lynx is celebrating her win. Birdie definitely calling it, even though it wasn't that close. Maya still seeming a little bit disgruntled that she was beaten once again. Them having, a pretty good time until they hear another voice from the side kind of yell over to them as this other woman approaches, saying, "Impressive speed. Almost subhuman," as they start to look a little bit nervous. Lynx stepping back a tiny bit more closer to the group as they take a closer look at this woman. Birdie especially noticing that she doesn't necessarily look just like any normal student here, and Birdie's starting to talk to her, saying, your eyes, are you, the woman continuing, a bloodsucker? Yeah. Seems you guys are too, but I don't remember seeing any of you at the last convention. Lynx just kind of confused, looking over at her, as Maya's still just seeming kind of nervous, moving to stand a little bit closer to her friend over here, as Lynx asks the woman, "Why do you look like that? Like, why aren't you fronting? It's not that late." The woman kind of barking out a sharp laugh, saying, "Fronting? Oh, Jesus, they've gotten to you first, haven't they?" Birdie seeming confused at that, going, "What do you mean?" As the woman kind of continues on speaking with them. "I don't roll with those stuffy assholes that work for the League of Bullshit. We have our own way of doing things, a way where we don't front. We're just who nature's decided to make us. If we're subjected to being such powerful beasts, why not let that rule?" Maya's starting to come to a realization, listening to the way that she's speaking, as Maya's eyes go wide and saying, "Oh, you're Lynx kind of reaching over and pinching her arm, as if to say, "Shut up." And the woman not seeming bothered, though, just finishing the sentence for her, going, "Oh, a feral? Miscreant? A lowlife? Whatever fear-mongering terms they feed you over there. Listen, if you ever get tired of all the rules and the fronting, head on over to the perimeter and find us, and we'll show you how to really make the most of this life." As she goes ahead and zips off quite fast on her own. The three looking a bit shaken up, with a variety of emotions across their faces, though Maya kind of letting out a huge breath that she was apparently holding in. Lynx noticing and looking over and being like, "Are you okay, nerd?" Maya just kind of nodding, still seeming a little bit rattled from it, though, and just kind of musing out loud, almost to herself, going, she was a lot more coherent than Florence always made them sound. Should we tell the League that we ran into one of the ferals?" Birdie immediately kind of shutting that down, as Birdie a bit more intrigued than worried or scared like the other two. Still kind of staring off. Stop it, Sims. Still kind of staring off into the direction that the other girl ran. Birdie's still shaking their head, saying, "No, not yet, at least. We should get inside, though," as Birdie starts to make the trek back on down towards their house, ushering the two along after them, with the other two not really sparing another glance in the other girl's direction. but Birdie having a lot on their mind after this brief little encounter. We are joined in the basement, the lower level of the lair yet again, where our little feral vampire hero last time was tied up and taken prisoner down in the basement captured by Clementine, as far as Dmitri knows anyways, and Clementine herself is also in here kind of leaning against the wall, just watching this go down, keeping an eye, as Dmitri has been circling the chair and discussing things with Hero here for a while now. As Dmitri kind of finishes one last circling, standing in front of him again and addressing the young feral, saying, "Once more," as Hero just kind of sighs and rolls his eyes and launches into the spiel one more time, saying, "I was out patrolling near the west edge of campus, making sure none of you suits were infringing on our territory. I didn't know it at the time, but Clementine was trailing me. She walked up, and I thought she was someone I could potentially lure back, since she seemed interested in me, but when I went in for the kiss, she kneed me in the stomach and slammed her boot down on top of my head. And then I woke up here." Dmitri, seemingly satisfied with the final iteration of it, turning to Clementine and asking, "Correct?" as Clementine kind of pushes herself off the wall and takes a little step forward, saying, "I mean, besides the part where he squealed like a little bitch, but yes," kind of smirking over at Hero as he just sends a glare at Clementine's direction. Dmitri, turning back to the feral, muttering profoundly, "Stupid of you to approach a feral like that, but I suppose it has resulted in this." Clementine kind of scowling at the back of Dimitri's head. It's still being kind of treated like a child, even though she's, produced such an impressive offering here. As Dimitri continues on, "Right, now that we have that established, what exactly were you patrolling for?" As Hero's like I'm gonna really let one of you in on any of the inner secrets of the tribe. Dimitri's gaze kind of narrowing as his eyes start to kind of darken, him taking another menacing step closer to the feral here, saying, "Oh, we'll see about that." As Clementine watches on, and we hear a little bit of a screeching sound and even a bit of a scream from Hero, as even Clementine's eyes start to go a little bit wide at whatever Dmitri has ended up deciding is the right course of action for the feral, as we'll leave them to do their bidding there. And head on upstairs to the training room, as our favorite little fledglings are over here training. Let me just get them to actually be doing stuff. Maya doing a little bit of meditating, of course, and Lynx practicing some of her fighting and sparring over at the practice dummies over there, as Birdie and Blake are squaring off. Birdie, is showing a tiny bit of potential, perhaps, but still seeming pretty clunky at all of this. Blake going ahead and trying to do some hand-to-hand combat with them to, boost up some of those skills and stuff, and to at least teach them some stances to be able to fight and take care of themselves a little bit better. But Birdie's still seeming pretty disgruntled and downtrodden about it. Blake trying to encourage them, though, being like, "No, see, that wasn't too bad, you got this," like with the, a bit more training and stuff, as Birdie kind of cuts him off, saying, "No, it's fine, you don't have to placate me. I know I'm not good at this stuff. I don't know. I've just been finding it difficult to figure out which aspects of all this crazy stuff are best suited to me, I suppose." As Blake's like, "Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Listen, the fighting isn't everyone's thing. The meditation isn't everyone's thing. You'll find your thing. I mean, you and Yazmin seem to be working on the spells and the potion side of thing a lot." Birdie, kind of hemming and hawing at that, saying, "Yeah, I suppose. I don't know if that's going so well either, but it's at least something I can wrap my brain around a little bit more than all of the hand-to-hand combat, I suppose." Blake just forging on those, saying, "Listen, I believe in you, though. You're smart. You can figure it out. And listen, if I can get you to the point where I feel like you can at least take a bar brawl without being knocked out, then, I'm satisfied. Don't give up, okay?" As those two just continue to train and kind of work on things, Blake continuing to encourage Birdie over there. Lynx is kind of finishing up her sparring, and Maya sort of finishing up her meditation, and glancing over at Lynx every now and then, and not seeming a little bit nervous to maybe approach until Lynx is kind of finishing up, and Maya finally walks over and addresses Lynx, saying, I bet I could beat you in one sparring match. Lynx just kind of laughing, looking over her shoulder. Maya, really? Maya's seeming a little bit nervous, blushing, of course, but continuing on, saying, yeah, I've been practicing, and, I could at least hold my own. I could. I bet I could beat you. Lynx just rolling her eyes as this is continuing on, but not really wanting to back down from a fight. And Maya clearly not backing down either, and Lynx being like, okay, I mean, it's your funeral, but if you think you could really beat, I bet you probably couldn't, but if you really want to try and spar me, let's go. As Maya tries to steal her nerves, it's like, okay, yeah, I bet I could beat you. Seemingly more just trying to pump herself up at this point, as they kind of square themselves up in the center of the room. Lynx just almost laughing at this because, she's beaten Maya at every other turn so far, and this is her arena that Maya's trying to bet her in anyways, so what would go wrong in this anyways? As Birdie and Blake just continue to kind of try and practice over there as well. Maya kind of holding her own at the very least, and Lynx kind of impressed that she's showing. Okay, I know Maya keeps losing here, but we're gonna go with my narration instead of what's happening in the Sims, okay? But Lynx seemingly starting to kind of win until getting a little bit tripped up, just honestly kind of impressed by whatever Maya is doing, and Maya, pulling on any of the training that she's had in her life and experience, ending up in fights not, caused by her, of course, and taking the in of noticing Lynx being a little bit distracted, and ending up being able to overpower Lynx and pin her down herself, with Maya hopping up, right away being like, ha! Self-defense classes for the win, I told you! Lynx a little bit flustered, still laid out on the floor, but, giving it to her and saying, alright, yeah, you got me on that one, I guess. Maya is still kind of celebrating her little win, as Birdie even notices that Maya took the win over there, and continuing out with Blake saying, see, even Maya's getting better, but I don't even know how to do that. I can't do this kind of stuff. As Yazmin finally enters the room, too, who has been, hanging out, doing a little bit of research herself, but saying, all right, Blake, why don't you stop torturing my fledgling for now, and we'll let it rest. Birdie and I have a little bit more, potions training to do here, as Birdie's like, yeah, I don't, with the way things have been going today, I don't know how well it's going to go anyways, but it's at least gonna be easier than whatever the hell I was just being made to do there. Blake just kind of laughing along, as Yazmin's like, yeah, but listen, you've been hitting the books pretty hard, and looking into stuff for a while. It seems like you've been in here quite a lot, so honestly, you should take a break every now and then. Birdie, I admire the work ethic, but sometimes, you do need to relax a little bit, as Blake's kind of, cooling off from the fight, dabbing a towel at his brow and stuff, as the conversation does also kind of catch the attention of Lynx and Maya over there as they finish up and head over as well. Yazmin continuing on saying, listen, I think that all of us could use a little bit of a break, and we haven't hung out a ton outside of training at the lair over here, so tonight I'm going to get you guys to loosen, I'm going to get you to loosen up, Birdie, and take a little break. Why don't we all head out to the club tonight? Lynx being like, oh yeah, Blake hasn't ended up clubbing with me in a couple years now, so I'd love to get back out there. Birdie just kind of saying, yeah, I guess it's been a bit too, and seems everyone keeps telling me I need to take a break lately, so fine, why not? Maya kind of almost reluctantly, but agreeing to go along as well, as she's been dragged to a club many a time by Birdie anyways, even if it's not really her scene. saying, yeah, sure, fine. I guess someone needs to be a designated driver at some point anyways. As Blake says, yeah, I'll text Lena and like we can get the whole crew. We can head out tonight. It sounds fun. Yazmin being like, perfect. I will text you guys the details then, and I will see you all there. Yazmin seeming pretty pleased with herself that she so easily got everyone to agree to head on out with them. So it's a little early in that game, so there's not a lot of people here. Pretended that the club is a lot more full, like a nightclub should be. But I'm not going to wait and fast forward all the way until nighttime. They're inside anyways. The sun can't get them, so it's not that big a deal. But, yeah, we join them on their little night out here. We'll let them head on over to the apparently bartenderless bar. But the packed nightclub that Yazmin has brought them to let loose and make them all relax a little bit, of course. Lena joining the crew as well. As all of them head on over to the bar, Maya seeming a little bit uncomfortable with the nightlife, but Lynx and Birdie, being no stranger to partying themselves, are right at home here. Yazmin seeming quite at home as well, going over and ordering drinks for the whole group right away from the bar, as, her goal is to definitely get them all to loosen up a little bit and chill out from all of the studying and training that everyone's been doing, taking a permanent seat at the bar altogether, of course, actually. As, they go off and have fun, Lena dragging Blake to the dance floor right away. Blake just kind of blushing and definitely obliging, not going to say no to Lena grabbing by the hand and pulling him on over there. As Birdie goes ahead and takes a seat at the bar next to Yazmin as well. Yazmin smiling at them. Lynx and Maya kind of lingering over by the bar themselves as they all take the drinks that Yazmin ordered. Her being like, "Come on, guys! Like, we're out here to party. Like, don't be shy." As Maya at least kind of daintily sips on the drink. Lynx and Birdie at least getting into a conversation about some of their old clubbing days, sharing some stories and such. Most of at least Birdie's that Maya has heard. Yazmin chiming in sometimes with some of her own before they kind of get onto the topic of, finding random hookups at the bars, of course, and such. Birdie and Lynx both having plenty of their own tales. Birdie just being like, yeah, it's been a little bit. I'm a little rusty, but I could probably still pull if I really wanted to. Lynx being like, oh yeah, absolutely, same for me. I bet like we could, we'd probably be on par. I don't know which one of us would be better at getting numbers out of the two of us. Maya kind of like listening in and getting a little tipsy at this point, and she can be kind of a lightweight, and it's only taking one drink for her to get at least a little bit bold. And overhearing the two talk and joke around about it and such. As Birdie, is like, I would take, I would be interested in seeing, but I do, I was here to relax with Yazmin tonight. She is the one that invited me out, and so I was figuring we could get to know each other a little more. I wanted to sit and chat with her, and Yazmin was like, yeah, no, back off. You guys live together. Birdie is mine for tonight. Anyways, as Birdie's like, yeah, but see, right there. Lynx just being like, yeah, no, that's all good. We have plenty of other party days. But Maya finally chiming in and turning to Lynx and just saying, I bet I can get more numbers than you. Lynx just completely laughing that one off, though, being like, all right, Maya, now you're taking it too far. Come on. That one's just a losing battle. As Maya's like, no, really. I mean, you don't know. Just because I, maybe don't have as many, don't have as many stories as Birdie. What? What, are you scared? You scared of being proven wrong? Kind of throwing, Lynx's argument back in her face from the other day as Lynx is like, all right, loser. Okay, I mean, it's... You're the one who's just going to end up embarrassed, but fine, if you really want to do this, let's go. Birdie just rolling their eyes as, Maya did claim to have the betting under control, but clearly maybe not, but Birdie having more things that they need to attend to tonight, watching Maya just kind of eagerly run off after Lynx as the two of them head down to the dance floor where Lena and Blake have, been breaking it down together to go mingle amongst all the other bodies there and get started on their own little bet. Birdie not necessarily lying to Lynx about wanting to talk to Yazmin, because they do want to talk to Yazmin, but maybe not as much of just a casual, laid-back, let's hang out and get to know each other chat. Not that Yazmin doesn't have her own ulterior motives by going out tonight, as the two kind of get into conversation there. Birdie, you know, definitely starting to get a little bit tipsy themselves as Yazmin continues to just kind of throw, you know, order drinks and give drinks to both of them throughout the night, as, you know, she kind of goes on saying, one of the perks at least is that, you know, we can still be affected by alcohol, even if we can't drink other human foods and stuff. At least alcohol still does the trick. Birdie being like, yeah, amen to that. It seems like there's, you know, there's so many different complicated rules and stuff, and I'm trying to just keep track of all of them as I learn, but things are definitely kind of hard to figure out sometimes. And you were mentioning the other day that it looked like I was kind of trying to do transfiguration magic, and I don't know, it's just all gone so much over my head, it's been hard to figure out what I do want to focus on, but maybe I would like to learn a little bit more about that if you do know. Yazmin very happy to even have like a little tidbit of that information and willing to jump on it immediately, saying, yeah, no, absolutely, I would love to help, you know, teach you about transfiguration magic, but listen, with most of the magic and stuff, you know, it's really better if you have some kind of motivation behind it. I feel that most of the spells can kind of tell whether you're coming from the right place or not, and so if you're just kind of doing that to do it, they'll probably turn out better if you have some kind of motivation. If you were just trying to like mess around with that stuff in the first place, there's gotta be a reason why, right? I mean, listen, like, you know, I've been trying to be, you know, as calm and friendly with you as possible, but I would hope at this point you trust me enough to at least, you know, let me know some of your inner desires on all this. Birdie's still kind of feeling a little bit uncomfortable giving too much information to Yazmin, but saying, you know, yeah, no, you're right, and that makes sense that having at least some kind of motivation would help things to work better. I mean, I even find that in science that usually when I care about the topic a lot more, that I can get on with it a lot easier, and, you know, the answers can come to me easier and such, and I just don't really know exactly where I'm coming from, because a lot of it is hard to decipher. Like I was saying, it's so over my head, you know, chemist brain over here, the magic isn't necessarily clicking, and I mean, most of what I'm looking at is kind of hard to figure out, since Diana's notes weren't like the most explicit in some areas, so it's kind of hard to figure out. Just kind of continuing to ramble until Yazmin does pick up on that and stops them and saying, like, oh, Diana's do you have some of her old work? Birdie realizing that maybe they shouldn't have also been drinking too much if they wanted to kind of pry into Yazmin's brain, as Yazmin clearly has been trying to do to theirs, and realizing that they kind of fucked up a little, and at this point just having to come clean to not sound too suspicious and say, oh, yeah, did I not tell you? Yeah, Florence gave me some of her old notes to look through. They're just really confusing, and so I mean, I've not been looking at it too much. It was just kind of an interesting little side project to sort of see what one of the former members was focusing on, since I know she did a lot for you guys. She's the one that came up with the plasma pack thing, right? She figured that out for all of you. Yazmin, kind of realizing that Birdie has gotten nervous, but seeming pretty satisfied in herself that she's even gotten that much information out, saying, yeah, no, she was like really brilliant from everything that I've heard. That's so impressive that you're even able to decipher like any of her notes. I mean, if you want me to help you take a look at some of them, I would totally be willing. Maybe some of my, you know, knowledge of potions and spells matched with, you know, your brain that can decipher her ramblings put together on it could be even more beneficial with whatever you're working on of Diana's things that you got from Florence there. Birdie definitely not wanting to get too much further into it and just be like, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I don't have that much, though. Florence just kind of gave me the surface stuff, and I'm sure that you guys have all seen anyways, so oh, good. Hey, we're here to party and hang out and stuff, right? We don't need to talk about work the whole time. Yazmin not wanting to push too far and get, make Birdie put their walls back up too much. Just saying, yeah, no, I think that's plenty of information for tonight anyways. We can just, hang out and chill now. Both of them kind of ending their calculated conversation on both their ends there, as everyone's been hanging out, dancing and partying and into the night. Maya and Lynx both making their rounds. Both of them, not being turned down too many times, as it's getting later and later into the night, and they're deciding to finally start to finally starting to wind down their night, as Birdie and Yazmin have been just kind of chatting and actually getting to know each other on a friendship level a little bit more, hanging the dance floor once or twice themselves, until they finally convene back at the bar, as it's close to the time that they're going to head home. Lena and Blake joining them as well, even though those two have been dancing the entire night away, as it's finally time for Maya and Lynx to figure out, who did win their little bet there. Maya seeming a lot more confident than Lynx was expecting, although, she's been funneling a couple drinks that night anyways, even if she was going to be designated driver, but needing some of that liquid courage, to go through with stuff, as Lynx kind of counts through her phone and is like, all right, I got 5 different people's numbers. Come on, there's absolutely no way that you topped that. As Maya's eyes kind of light up at hearing that, and she's like, just starts absolutely giggling. Lynx starting to get a little bit nervous and confused at that point, and being like, what, did you just lose so absolutely embarrassingly, lower than me that it's funny, as Maya's like, nope, as I told you, absolutely 7. I got 7 people. Lynx's face just falling, and her going, bullshit, you did not. No, you didn't. But I'd be like, yeah, no, absolutely. I told you. You guys always underestimate me, but I can, like Birdie always says, they can pull, I can pull too. Lena and Blake finally, joining them, hearing the end of the conversation too, and Lena being like, oh, did you go around getting people's number? Oh my god, I used to pull that trick all the time too, back when I was first, doing my mental preparedness stuff. Maya's giggle kind of trailing off a little bit, as she's like, what do you mean? Lena saying, yeah, no, I mean, kind of like I showed you at the fro-yo bar the other day. I mean, with enough practice and stuff, you can absolutely kind of, make suggestions to people of what you want them to do and stuff. And I used to pull the party trick all the time of looking deep into people's eyes, and just through the power of suggestion alone, getting them to give me their number. And listen, you've got a heck of a lot of mental power already, even if you've just started training. So I saw you working it out there. Hello, where did they go? Oh, they're down here. Sorry, I needed to stop the Sims from being the Sims. As Lynx starts to kind of laugh now, and Maya's face starts to fall a little more, and Lynx being like, okay, if you were literally if you were making people do that with your, stupid vampire brain powers, then there's no way. That's gotta be cheating, right? Does that count? Maya just kind of laughing less, looking at the floor, and being like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I wasn't trying to, persuade people on purpose. And Lena, realizing that her face has fallen, reassuring her a bit. It's like, oh no, it's not bad. I mean, if they didn't already want to, then, with your low level, they probably wouldn't have already. It's not that big a deal. It's not like you really, persuaded them to do that much. Don't worry about it. It's impressive that you even got that much to happen at just a fledgling level, though. So I'm proud of you, kid. You're learning. As they giggle on, though. Lynx just kind of being like, why don't we just call that one a draw? And maybe we should be done with the betting then, realizing that Maya just it has lost a lot of that kind of bravado that she walked up with earlier, as Maya's like, yeah, stopping the betting is probably a good idea, as they leave it at their truce for now. Just with the club, let's pretend that there's more people in this room than there are, just because of Sims limitations and not wanting to absolutely break the game, since we're not in a public space down into the household. But let's pretend there's a few other people around, because it's not just our usual few that we see that are in the league, technically. but it is just those, six that are in on Dmitri's secret plan. But they're having a full league meeting as we meet them at the lair with plenty of the other members that are around in the league. We at least do have our 6 here that we're used to, but, 6 here that we're used to. I forgot to have Yazmin come sit down. Shh. We'll let her walk in as we continue on, though. Florence here as well, of course, as they're having a full league meeting. Everyone packed into the boardroom, as Dmitri has called everyone here for their, kind of monthly debrief on things, just to check in on how everyone's going, make sure that all of the secrets are being kept and everyone is staying in line, of course. And it's the typical, usual agenda until Dmitri starts to go on to another topic here that not everyone was expecting necessarily, as Dmitri addresses the group saying, "All right, everyone, we do have one matter of business that is not of the typical nature here, but we have stumbled into some information, and we have come upon a bit of a occurrence that is rare for us, but it is a rare opportunity, and I want you all to be aware of what we are doing, since integrity is one of the cornerstones of this foundation, of course. So I wanted to let you all know that we may be making some progress on hopefully keeping things a little bit safer, as I'm sure you know. Disappearances have gone up recently, but we do have a plan to hopefully make things a little safer, and we have actually made some faster groundwork on information that we were planning, as Clementine starts to look a little bit self-satisfied here, smiling as she knows where this is going, of course, and ready to finally get some of the praise and recognition she deserves, knowing the direction that Dmitri is going in here to tell everyone what is going on. But as Dmitri continues, Clementine's face does start to fall as Dmitri continues on saying, "Of course, I am here to make sure that everything is running smoothly and keep everything in order for you guys, and so I've made the executive decision that getting some information from some of the ferals that we all know are out there is the best course of action, so I have infiltrated their camp to bring one back to us. Now, we have them at a secure location, and we are using fair means to be able to draw out as much information as possible from one of those degenerates. But rest assured, I have it handled, and you can know that I'm always here to help you all out." As Clementine continues to get more and more enraged here before absolutely in a taboo manner speaking out of turn, though, and standing up, slamming her hands on the table and saying, "You what?" But as she starts to speak, Dmitri glares right into her eyes, his own eyes starting to kind of get a little bit foggier as he stares at her, and her throat starts to kind of burn, and she continues trying to yell and scream at him, but it's almost like she's choking on her own words, and she can't get more out until she just settles back down into her chair, trying to gain a breath, but can't really grabbing one, as Dmitri just speaks over the sounds of her choking, saying, "Clementine, now, you of anyone should know that it's unwise to question my authority. So if you have a problem with what I'm doing, maybe you should take it up with one of my inferiors and, or keep it to yourself. Are we clear?" As Clementine starts to get her breath back, Isaiah over here, looking concerned and, like, patting her on the back, being like, "Babe, are you okay?" As she just kind of seems really upset, her eyes starting to glow, herself as the veins start to pop out of her head, as she glares at Dmitri after not only having him take credit for everything that she did with the pharaohs, of course, but then even silencing her from saying anything, as Dmitri is just glaring daggers into her eyes. Clementine just getting even more upset as he almost even starts to smirk at her as he sees her getting so riled up about it. Florence looking pretty concerned about everything that just happened from the corner as Clementine does sort of resign herself, and a little worried what might happen if she does decide to speak out again. Grinding out at Dmitri crystal as she stays in her seat. Dmitri saying, "Good. And let it be known to everyone that I'm not going to tolerate insolence from any of you. Now, Caesar, I'm appointing you as in charge of this little side project, so I will brief you a little bit later on the details and making sure that everything is in tip-top shape with this feral, but for now, I just wanted you all to have the information of my goings about at the moment. You're all dismissed, as Clementine is still just seething in her seat. Caesar even looking a little bit taken aback by everything that just happened as well. Clementine meeting his gaze for a second before just shaking her head and looking down and storming out of the room, since not even her own brother seemed to say anything about what just happened. Isaiah trying to quickly follow after her and comfort her, yelling babe down the hallway, but Clementine just being like, not now, as they all disperse for the day, and Florence heading back up to her office here. Clementine trying to pace the halls and calm herself down for a little bit, actually, as Florence seems pretty concerned by what just happened and trying to get out of there as quickly as possible, as she heads to her office and grabs a couple of books from the library on the way, though, and grabs some of the other files that she has in her special league locked drawer in her office as well, intensely starting to pore over some of this stuff and do some research of her own before Clementine goes ahead and bursts into Florence's office herself after everything that just happened and staring Florence down and just saying, "Why do you hate me?" Florence seeming pretty taken aback by that as she pulls off her glasses and starts to rub at her head, going, "Clementine, I don't... What do you mean?" As Clementine takes a seat in one of her chairs, continuing on, like, "You saw what just happened down there, like, you didn't even say anything to stop it. No one said anything to stop it. I don't even know what the hell he just did down there. Why don't... You clearly aren't happy with the way he does things. Why don't you ever let it get to you? Why don't you ever get upset about it?" Florence shutting that down right away and saying, "Clementine, I do get upset about it, okay? Trust me. He pisses me off more than you could know." Clementine's still just exasperated with that answer, though, and saying, like, "Well, it sure doesn't look like it," as Florence continues on, saying, "That's because I have honed in my own powers and know how to keep my calm enough to where I can keep my anger under control. And I don't start to transform anytime something starts to set me off, Clementine. Listen, what just happened down there was absolutely uncalled for, and I need to figure a few things out before I speak to him, but trust me, that wasn't alright, that show of power that he just pulled down there, and I don't exactly know his motive behind it or what he did either. But either way, whenever you get upset, you act like a child and you let it get to you, Clementine. You've been here for a couple years now, and you should be able to keep a handle on your emotions more." Clementine kind of trying to start to interrupt her and defend herself, as Florence just continues on, though, saying, "I don't hate you, but I've realized over the past couple of years that you want to take the shortcut to things, okay? You want power, clearly, but you don't want to put the work in to get there. You need dedication and perseverance and patience to learn how to hone in your abilities in a way where you can actually practically use them instead of letting yourself fly off the handle and start to transform anytime there's a minor inconvenience in your way. And over the past couple of years, I've realized that you're just not going to listen to anyone who tells you that, and you're not going to put in the work that it takes to get to the level of anywhere near Dmitri, if that's what you want. So I'm sorry, but I stopped trying a while ago because you're not going to listen. And how quickly you continue to change every time someone upsets you is evidence of that. As Clementine just continues to kind of get defensive, almost proving Florence's point, still seeming pretty irate, but continuing on just saying, you know what, Florence? You think you know everything. You think you're so wise, but you don't. You don't know everything. For all the wisdom you pretend to have, you don't even know what's going on right under your nose. Florence just sort of seeming exasperated at the younger girl's words. Addressing her, correcting her, saying, listen, I might only be a counselor at the school, but I've been in the league a lot longer than you, and I am second in command at the league, so maybe you don't want to see it, but I do know a lot more, and I do have a lot more authority than you think I do, Clementine. Clementine just kind of laughing at that, though, as she stands up to leave Florence's office. Looking right at Florence and saying, oh yeah, then why has Headmaster Solomon specifically made sure that we hide what we're doing from you? As Florence does start to kind of squint at that, asking Clementine, what do you mean by that? As Clementine starts to laugh back in her face, then leaning on her desk for a moment and just saying, oh, huh. Who has the real power now? Before leaving her office and letting Florence ponder over what she just said. Florence, irritated at the young girl's insolence as usual, but also pondering whatever Clementine did just say to her, because Florence doesn't exactly know what she means, but after what just happened down there and after hearing that from Clementine, she's got some research to do, because she definitely plans on getting to the bottom of what she means. Head back to our main house here, of course, with Birdie up in their bedroom yet again. And they've been spending plenty of time in the lab, of course, now that they've asked Lynn to kind of help out with things. And they're on the phone with Lynn, actually, since they were in the lab most of the day, and he had called with a couple other things that he had thought of while they were working, but it's kind of devolved into just other casual conversation as the two realize that they do have a lot in common and are kind of starting to become friends as they're doing a lot more work outside of the lab together as well, and just kind of trading anecdotes and talking a bit here on the phone as it's getting later into the night. Birdie just laughing along at Lynn's tale as he's kind of talking on and telling them that, you know. No, I'm serious. Listen, I've had an interest in science ever since, and I didn't even know what I was doing necessarily at that age, but all I knew was that as a little lactose intolerant kid, not being able to have ice cream at people's birthday parties was literally the worst thing in the world. And hey, listen, it's my parents' fault for getting me that, kids science set and letting me play around with actual chemicals with it. Okay, and I don't know. I just, what can I say? I'm a little bit of a genius and just decided to look into things and do enough research online that I figured out how to figured out a substance that let me be able to eat dairy without, absolutely making me sick. And I think it was impressive. My parents weren't as impressed because, lo and behold, of course, that already exists. Birdie being like, yeah, no, I can't believe that they didn't just let you have lactate before. Like, you literally invented a medicine that already exists when you were a child. I mean, it is very impressive, but how did you even, come up with that? As, he kind of continues on talking about some of the science and also, saying back to them as, hey, listen, Birdie, like I told you in the lab the other day, I've just always had a gift for finding unconventional solutions to problems by just thinking a bit outside the box. As Birdie's just kind of laughing along, thinking about what they were saying on the phone, and just, still listening to Lynn, but starting to trail off a little bit, as some realization dawns on Birdie, and they say, I'm sorry. Thank you. This was fun. We should get some rest. I really have to go. I have to go. I will see you in the lab tomorrow, though. Okay? And Lynn's like, what? Oh yeah. All right. Have a good night, Birdie basically cutting him off as they slam the end button on the call and sit down, muttering to themselves, almost like jittery as they start to look over some of the evidence that they have saved onto their laptop and looking through a lot of the papers that they have gathered up into their little bag there. as they're looking through stuff and kind of mumbling to themselves, saying like, oh my god, oh, Lynn, you are so much more helpful than you even realize. Starting to analyze things and thinking about what, Lynn's been saying, having the words of, looking at some things in an unconventional way to other people as they look through all of Diana's research that they've been staring at for weeks now, with Lynn's story on their mind, as things start to finally click into place as they realize, holy shit, Diana, you were figuring out a way for us to eat human food. End up at the feral camp yet again for the very end, and Clementine is here as Aster is kind of tending to some things at the fire, as Clementine kind of rants and rambles on here a little bit as she continues talking to Aster while Aster works. As she's been rambling for a bit to Aster at the camp late at night, pretend it's a bit darker. Well, Clementine kind of complains about the afternoon, what happened that afternoon, saying, and then I don't even know what the hell he did, but it's like I just couldn't even get the words out, and I don't know why, like, he wouldn't let me even take credit for it, but it's just like at every single turn I'm treated like a child, and I don't know why, when I've literally just brought him like an opportunity on a silver platter to move things along, since his stupid plan isn't even moving things along that fast. And I'm just so tired of being treated like the village idiot around there. I am plenty capable of doing things even as much as my brother. What does my brother even do? Why does he get so much special attention? Aster just kind of nodding along as Clementine continues to complain about everything that happened with Dmitri the other day before Aster finishes up her work here and places what she was working on in a little vial and hands it over to Clementine, saying, here, that should be enough human blood to get Hero through the next couple days. And listen, I told you that he was a crazy, power-hungry maniac when I was leaving the League myself, and I don't know why you still stuck around, but maybe now you're finally realizing what I did a long time ago. Despite everything, there's still a place over at my tribe if you ever get as fed up with Mr. Dimitri's role as I did. Just so you know. As Clementine really seems to take in Aster's words, but doesn't quite have an answer for her yet, and who knows what Clementine's answer is about Aster's offer to join the tribe. We'll have to find out a little bit later, because we will leave the episode there. Fine, I'll let you guys show off your powers, since you're always trying to during the episode, and I never let you. But yes, that's where we will leave episode 5 of Sharpest Tool. I hope you guys enjoyed. We only have, we have 4 episodes left, I think? No, 6, 7, 8. We have 3 episodes left of the series, so we are winding down. We got lots of little side plots going on, I know, but we'll get to plenty of stuff by the end of the season before we go out with a bang. Thank you all very much. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night and a beautiful rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you all later. Nighty night, cuties.